Okay, the exercise I'm going to show you now is the Landmine Press, sometimes known as the Torsionator Press. It's got a couple other names as well. I know I say it a lot, but this is definitely one of my all-time favourites. I do this once a week myself. I like this exercise because of the angle that the resistance is in. You will end up in sort of a slight leaning posture, pushing up like that. To me, that's a very functional athletic posture. The perfect example would be a fend in some football sports, or like a long reaching right in a boxing type thing or a martial arts type maneuver. Lots of anti-rotation work, but the main focus is that vertical type pushing activity. The other reason I like this is that you don't need as much mobility to work on that vertical, strengthen that vertical pattern. So for me, the overhead like this, there's only a few sports that require that full range of movement, like your weightlifting. Swimmers need to be able to get up there. So for many people, they probably don't need to develop all the way up there. So again, I look at risk and reward a little bit. If they don't have the range and they don't need it, then we can come here and use the Landmine Press. So the Landmine Press is great for developing strength in that movement pattern, but it's also one of the places I go to improve the motor control of that pattern, because you've got that extra stability of it being in the ground. So I'm going to start with the standing Landmine Press, and then I'll do the half kneeling press as well, and I'll tell you why I do the half kneeling press later on. So I like the split stance. You can do it in a parallel stance, like all the athletic posture, as I like to call it. I like the split stance because I come from a martial arts background. That's my main reason I have that preference there. When we do the press, I will actually alternate legs as well. So this is like a reverse punch, and then from here is more like a jab. But for now, this is probably the more natural pattern off the back leg like this. I'm in that nice strong posture that we've talked about before. You leave a little bit of a gap here. You don't want it real tight. If it's real tight, it's kind of like just a bodybuilding maneuver, and we're just building anterior delt, tricep, upper fibers of pec, or clavicular fibers of pec. We are looking for more athletic transfer. We'll still get that muscle development, but now it's not in isolation. So we're trying to get upward rotation of the scapula as well. So we can get like a bit of an arc in the movement, and you lean forward slightly into it, and that way I've got as much upward rotation there as I need in the scapula, and I'm getting a little more range of movement if I lean in there too, and then coming back nice and controlled. When they're leaning in, you can see it's all from the hips. There's no spine movement, so we want it from the hips, boom, nice and controlled, because you wouldn't want your athlete flexing to fend. So you want them in that, with football players I'll probably do it quite often like this, so that it's more of a stronger type tackle position. But again, in saying that, running they'll be split stance, and that's probably when they would fend, so maybe it's more important to do this here, and they would need to do both hands as well. So great exercise for that development, and I see a lot of athletic functional transfer in this activity. So get into it, give it a go, learn how to teach it correctly. So you want that upward rotation of the scap, you want that lean forward at the hip, so that you get maximum range and greatest control and stability in the scapula and the glenohumeral.